In a dim, oppressive room lived a group of ugly tree people. They were fixed onto tree stumps, their heads all flat on top. They spent most of their days sleeping, their lives dull and monotonous. One day, a little tree person named Jimmy was born. Like a human baby, he was lively and energetic, full of curiosity about everything around him. He stood in stark contrast to the lifeless elders nearby, and his arrival brought a hint of vitality to the small room. As time passed, little Jimmy gradually grew up. Unlike the elders, he did not spend his days asleep. Instead, he constantly patted his belly and sang loudly, tormenting the other tree people with his noise. They had long grown accustomed to their previous way of life. The sudden disturbance made them deeply uncomfortable. Finally, a tree person beside him snapped and shouted angrily to stop Jimmy. Jimmy could only pretend to be quiet. But once the others had fallen asleep, he began making trouble again. The other tree people could only cover their ears and continue to endure his piercing noise. Time slowly passed, and Jimmy finally reached adulthood. He was much taller than the other tree people. Unlike them, his feet could move freely and were not fixed into a tree stump. This sight terrified the tree person next to him, who screamed in panic. The noise woke the others, and they began screaming one after another. Before long, the commotion attracted an external administrator. A beam of light shone through the ceiling and fell on Jimmy, and the tree people immediately fell silent. Then a robot slowly descended from above. Jimmy looked around curiously. This was the first time in his life he had seen anything from outside the room. Just as he reached out to touch it, his head was smashed flat by the robot, and the light faded from his eyes, making him the same as the others. At that moment, I suddenly realized that the tree people's heads had originally been round. They were only flattened later. Once they had been just like Jimmy, full of curiosity about the world. But after being repaired by the robot, they accepted their fate and quickly blended into their surroundings. Seeing Jimmy become just like them, they not only showed no sympathy, but began laughing loudly at him, mocking him for being the same as they once were. The laughter provoked Jimmy. Unwilling to remain trapped in that dark room, he began to fight back. Light burst from his eyes once more. He tore off the branches on his body, pulled his legs out of the tree stump, and as the robot was about to leave, he climbed onto a neighboring tree person, stepped on his head, leapt upward, grabbed the ceiling, and crawled out through the still open hole. The scene stunned the tree people. They all stood there with mouths agape, watching him leave in terror. It completely shattered their understanding of